Good day to you all. Learner's Note is an online solution to encourage better ways of education among our students. I am Sanjana, your chemistry teacher. Let's discuss about metals and non-metals. Now, everything that you see around us can be basically classified into two categories, that is a broad classification, metals and non-metals. Now let's talk about the physical properties of metals. How do you identify a metal when you simply see them? So these are few physical properties of metals. The first one is luster property. By the property of luster, you can actually see the metals shining, and by the property of sonorous or sonority, you can actually hear the sound when your metals are being struck with another object. And then you have two new terms, that is malleability and ductility. Now, malleability is just the property of metals by which it can be beaten into thin sheets like this, and ductility is the process by which you can draw the metals into thin wires. And then another property of metal is the conductivity. It is actually a very good conductor of heat and electricity. That is the exact reason why we use copper or aluminum wires for making cables as well as utensils. The utensils are made of metals which are actually a very good conductor of heat. Next, we move on to the properties of non-metals. The properties of non-metals are exactly the opposite of metals. Here, in the case of non-metals, you don't have any shining or other bright characteristics for non-metals. So it is non-lustrous and they do not make any sound. It is easily breakable. So they are non-sonorous and they are actually very soft. That means they are neither malleable nor ductile. So the malleability and ductility property is very prominent only in metals. Then the last is poor conduction of heat and electricity. Non-metals generally do not conduct heat and electricity. That is why they can be actually used on utensils to make the handles, so that you can easily hold the hot utensils. So these are few of the physical properties and physical properties of metals and non-metals. Now we move on to the chemical properties of metals and non-metals. Now in chemical properties, we can classify the property into four different categories. The first one is reaction with oxygen, then you have reaction with water, then reaction with acid and reaction with base. Now let's see how metals react to all these conditions. First is metal reacting with oxygen. Metal reacts with oxygen to produce metal oxides. Metal oxides are usually basic in nature. And then you can see the reaction between metal and water. When metal and water react, you actually get metal hydroxide and hydrogen gas as a product. And when you see the metal and acid reacting, you can see the reaction produces salt and hydrogen gas. Here you can see the example of magnesium and hydrochloric acid. Here magnesium is the metal that you are taking and hydrochloric acid is just an acid to show the reaction. So when the metal and an acid react, you get a salt which is magnesium chloride, and hydrogen gas will be your byproduct. Similarly, you have metals reacting with base, and again it shows similar reactions just like acid. Here you can see that a base, which is sodium hydroxide, reacts with a metal zinc and it produces a salt and hydrogen gas. So these are the reactions with metals. Now when we move on to non-metals, the reactions become a bit more complex. The next property is reaction of non-metal with water. In the reaction of non-metal with water, you can see that there is no reaction taking place. For instance, you can take the example of a non-metal phosphorus. In the case of phosphorus is highly reactive if it is kept open to your atmosphere. So in order to prevent such a reaction, you keep it inside water. So usually phosphorus is stored inside water so that it does not react. So that is an important reaction or one of the important chemical property that you can talk about non-metals. Then we come to reaction with acid. You can see that there is no reaction that is taking place between a non-metal and an acid, and then when it comes to reaction with base, the reaction becomes very complex and it is beyond explanation. So these are few properties of metals and non-metals. To summarize, you can say that reaction of metal with oxygen gives you metal oxide and non-metal with oxygen will give you non-metallic oxide. Metals and water will produce metal hydroxide and hydrogen gas, but the non-metals generally do not produce any reaction. Then you have reaction with acid and base, which is shown only by metals, and that will give you salt and hydrogen gas as the product. So these are few chemical properties of metals and non-metals. Next, we move on to something called reactivity series. Reactivity series is a table like this. This table actually is showing the list of metals which are arranged in a decreasing order of their reactivity. So here you can see that potassium, sodium, calcium all lie on top of your reactivity series, which indicates that they are most reactive metals, whereas as you come down, gold, silver, mercury, they are least reactive. You can take real life examples as well. In the case of gold and silver, you use it as ornaments. They do not easily react with air or water. So that is the main reason why we prefer gold and silver for making jewelry or other purposes. So in order to demonstrate the importance of reactivity series, we can take an experiment wherein you take a test tube and you add blue color copper sulfate solution to it, and then you place an iron nail inside it and leave it for maybe a week or so. And after a week, what you observe is the blue color of the copper sulfate solution has turned into green color solution. This indicates that the iron, which is high in the reactivity series compared to copper, will displace the copper ions from the solution. So what you get as a result is copper sulfate solution turning into green color iron sulfate solution, and the iron nail will be having few deposits of copper. So this is a very simple and common example to demonstrate the reactivity of metals. I hope it is clear. Now we move to the uses of metals and non-metals. You see, you have a lot of uses of metals and non-metals in your daily life. For instance, if you are taking non-metals like iron, aluminium, copper, gold and silver, you see that iron and aluminium are mainly used for making utensils or furniture or other machines. When you talk about copper wires, copper is actually used for electric appliances, and then when you talk about gold and silver, you see it commonly in jewelry. Now few common non-metals that you use are sulfur, oxygen, chlorine and nitrogen. Chlorine is one of the very good disinfectants, so it is used for purification of water. Oxygen, you know, we take in for respiration purposes, and then you have sulfur that is used for making chemicals like sulfuric acid and other salts. Then nitrogen. Nitrogen is an important component of ammonia which is used in fertilizers. So from this table you can actually get an idea of how frequently and how commonly we use metals and non-metals in our life. And the last part is alloy. You must have heard about alloys, but then you might not be very familiar with the term alloy. Alloy is a homogeneous mixture of metal with another metal or a non-metal. So when you mention the term homogeneous mixture, it actually means that when you take the metal and cut it into parts, different parts, and you take the composition from different parts, what you observe is that composition will be constant or it will be the same throughout. So that is what you mean by a homogeneous mixture. So a homogeneous mixture of metal with another metal or a non-metal is what you mean by alloy. Now here are a few alloys that you can see. First one is steel. You are very familiar with steel, you must have heard it quite frequently, but then you might not know the constituents of it. Steel contains iron and carbon. Stainless steel contains iron and chromium. Brass contains copper and zinc, whereas bronze contains copper and tin. And you know it has a plenty of applications in construction areas, utensils, then handicrafts, then even statue making and medals and things like that. So these are few properties of alloys, the properties, the uses, the constituents of alloy. So with that we come to the end of metals and non-metals. In this video we have discussed few properties which are physical and chemical for both metals and non-metals, and then we saw the uses and the importance of metals and non-metals along with the uses and the combination of alloys. Dear students, I hope you have had a fair idea of what we have discussed in this video today. Learners don't believe in learning concepts by doing experiments. We have many such experiments linked to your syllabus. So please watch our videos and visit us at www.learnersnode.com. I am Sanjana, your chemistry teacher, signing off. Let's catch up through Learners Node online classes. Keep watching and have fun.